Hello, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina. On this channel we do art stuff, and apparently I'm a big fat liar because I just posted a haul video I think a couple of weeks ago now, or maybe a bit more than that, and I said that was the last haul, well the first and probably last haul I was going to have on this channel for a long time, that I wasn't planning on buying any more watercolours this year and blah 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 blah. Well, turns out I'm a big fat liar. So since recording that video, maybe it was before I recorded that video, I'm not sure why this wasn't included in that video, this bag, because back in February we went to Paris, went to Disneyland in Paris for a few days as like an early birthday present for my daughter. For her 5th birthday we went to Disneyland, and anyway, but we had one day in Paris and then we spent the rest of the time at Disneyland. And that during that one day in Paris, I said to my husband, I was like, you know, we were there on a family trip. It wasn't about me going to do all the things I wanted to do. But I was like, if there is time, or if I can slip away for a few minutes here or there, because where we were staying was really close, like a 15-minute walk to the Sennelier art shop in Paris. So I was like, well, if I can make it work, I would love to go and pop in just for like 10 minutes to have a little look around and see what it's like. And I did actually end up managing to do that, and I took my daughter with me, and she loved it. She loves going to art shops and having a little nosy around as well. So I'll actually insert some clips. I took a couple of small clips whilst we were there, so if I remember, I will insert those clips here for you so you can see what the shop looks like. So of course, whilst we were there, I couldn't not pick up a few things. So I did grab a couple of bits from there, and they're in this bag. And actually there's one thing from another shop that we stopped at. My husband wanted to pick up some sort of fancy mechanical pencil thing. And anyway, I spotted something in this other shop as well, which is also in this bag. Anyway, I feel like I'm just rambling now. I'm still a little bit sick. It's a really lovely weekend. The weather's beautiful here in the UK at the moment. It's Mother's Day weekend in the UK. Today's the 26th of March, so tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I'm stuck inside because I'm still testing positive, even though I'm at the tail end of it now. I have a couple more days left and I'm just stuck in the house. I'll go out into the garden later, I'm sure it'll be lovely, but anyway, so that's that. And then this last week Jackson's had their watercolour sale in their shop, and I was like, I wasn't going to get anything, and then I got inspired by a video from Kimberly Crick, which if I remember, I will link that below. If not, and you want to see which video I'm talking about, leave me a comment and I'll link it if I forget to do that. And then I went and looked on Jackson's, and they had the colours I wanted, and I was like, you know what, fine, whatever, let's do it. And it was on sale, so, and I had, thank you to you guys for using my Jackson's affiliate links, I had some affiliate credit built up, so it didn't, which covered almost all of the cost for this, for the Jackson's haul, so that made me, it didn't feel too bad about spending it. But thank you so much to everyone who does use my Jackson's affiliate links that are in the description box below the video. It doesn't cost you anything extra, it just means I get a small commission off any purchases that you make, and like I said, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It helps support the channel, and also if it's your first time ordering with Jackson's, you get an extra 10% discount on your order, so definitely make sure to take advantage of that if you'd like. Also, sorry about this weird lighting, the sun's coming in from the window on this side on the left, and there's not really anything I can do about it. The blinds are pulled down, but this is the light that's coming in through the side of the blind, so I can't do anything about it. Alright, so let's get into this. There were a couple of things from Jackson's that I'd wanted to get. One thing in particular that I've been wanting to get for a while, but it's just been out of stock for so long, and it was finally in stock. So that was really the main reason I pushed the button on making the order, because I was like, okay, it's finally available. Alright, so first things first, the stuff I picked up in Paris. Like I said, it wasn't too much, so I'm not sure why I didn't include it in the last haul that I did. But, okay, I picked up 2 Sennelier watercolours from the Sennelier shop. I picked up their forest green and their turquoise green. So the forest green is a colour I've had before. I've used up the tube. I loved it. It is a convenience mix. It's a mix of PBK7, PG7 and PY42. And I'm not normally a huge fan of colours that have black mixed into them, but this is a really beautiful shade and I actually really enjoy using it. It's a really nice sort of dark green on a palette, so I quite enjoy it. And then the turquoise green is a colour I've been wanting to try from Shinhan for a while. I seem to be wanting to try this sort of like cobalt turquoise type colour from pretty much every brand. I'll probably do a comparison video at some point because I have quite a few different variations of this pigment. And this is, and so this colour is usually made from either PG50, which is this version from Shinhan, or from PB28, which is also used for the regular cobalt colour. And so this one's made from PG50, like I said. So I will swatch these out in a little bit. I will also do the swatching in this video just because I don't think it's going to be too long otherwise, because there isn't too much. Then I picked up this little sample pad of agave watercolour paper by Hahnemuhle. They had lots of different paper pads and notebooks and sketchbooks and stuff by Hahnemuhle at the Shinhan shop, which I thought was really interesting. And there were some that I'd never heard of before or seen before in person. So there was a lot I was very tempted by, but I do have a lot of watercolour paper and quite a few watercolour sketchbooks that I need to get through. So I didn't buy any of those. And but I did pick up this one because I've never tried the agave one. And this is 290 GSM paper, £135. It's 8 by 10.5 centimeters, so it's lovely and tiny. So about 3 by 4 inches. It's 70% agave fiber and 30% cotton rag. I don't know if you can see, it's got a very subtle sort of texture to it. And I thought it'd be interesting to try out and see what I think of it. And then another one that I picked up because it was a really good price. It was €14 for this pad of 100% cotton watercolor paper. I think the brand is Magnani, I don't know if that's right. 1404. It's made in Italy. It's an Italian watercolor paper, 100% cotton, £140, and there's 20 sheets in this block, and it's a block, so it means it's gummed on all sides except either a corner or a little bit at the top where you can then separate the. It's 18 by 26 centimeters or 7 by 10 inches, so it's a nice sort of smallish size. And yeah, like there again, just wanted to give it a try and see how I like it. I like testing out different papers, and it was just looked really interesting. I can't remember how much this was. It wasn't too much for what it is, but I really want. It's like a handmade paper sketchbook, and obviously it's all in French on the back, so I can't remember exactly what it was all about, but it was interesting. And they had a sample of it in the shop that had been painted in, and it's just got a really interesting texture on the paper. So it reminded me a bit of like the Cuddy sketchbooks, which is also made with handmade paper. So it has all these natural variations and flaws and imperfections in the paper, which I really like. But also, I'm not sure how well it'll pick up on camera, it has this sort of linen texture to the paper, which I thought would be really interesting to try out. I'm not sure what this sketchbook is going to be used for because it's quite small, but I guess you could use it for like small little landscape practice paintings or anything you want to paint in it, really. It doesn't particularly open flat, which is a bit of a issue. You'd have to really pin it down and stuff. But I was thinking, even if I don't use it for actual paintings, I could use it as like a logbook to keep track of like different color palettes that I like, or color mixes and things like that. It's kind of like a reference book. So we'll see. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do with this. I might do some, might swatch some of the colors that I got in this haul in here just to see how the paper reacts and what I think of it. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. If I can find the name of the art shop that I got this from in Paris, I will try and link it in the description box below, or at least put the name of the shop in the description box below. So if you ever find yourself in Paris and you want to check it out, you can. And they also had, that art shop also had the whole selection of like Sennelier paints and some other brands of paints as well. I can't remember, I think they had Daniel Smith in the shop as well, and other things. So definitely want to check out if you are in Paris. Like I said, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. Then the next thing, so moving on to the Jackson's haul now. The first thing I picked up, and I noticed Jackson, this is a fairly new addition to the website, or at least I hadn't noticed it before, is the Schmincke Super Granulation Dot card. So I purchased their regular dot card a while ago in the haul last year, and I'm still planning on doing a swatching video for that, but I'm also going to do a video for this one. So this has all 40 of their super granulation colours. So it's got the Volcano set, Galaxy, Deep Sea, Shire, Desert, Tundra, Glacier and Forest. The only set not included in this dot card is the Haze set, and that's because it's a limited edition only available at Jackson's art set, and so it's not included in any of their other sort of things. So that's the only set not included on the dot card, which is fine. And then the other thing that I'd really wanted to get, and this is the one that had been out of stock for a long time and I finally got it, is this Shinhan watercolor palette. And I was intrigued by this because I'll read what it says on the back. It's got lots of really good qualities that if it's accurate and it's true, then it could be a really good palette. So it comes with 24 wells. You have 12 on either side of the palette. You have 3 mixing areas on one side and then 1 large mixing area on the opposite side. And it says you have embossed wells, which means you've got the regular sort of slanted rectangular wells, but it's got an embossed finish, which apparently is supposed to help hold on to the paint so that once it's dried it doesn't like fall out. So I know some people have issues with plastic palettes where, especially these travel palettes that fold up, where when they close their palettes some of their paints might sometimes fall out depending on the brand and type of paint. Then it's got easy to clean. It says it's stain resistant, non-beading and easy to clean mixing areas. So we will test that out and see how that works. Huge mixing areas, bright white surface and smart well design with raised edges at the entrance of the colour wells to help prevent paints from overflowing. So this is what the palette looks like. It's white. And then it sort of just, ouch, it snaps open. Okay, so when you open it up, this is what the palette looks like. So let's see if I can show you. So yeah, you can kind of see those embossed, like slightly rough textured feeling edge there, which apparently helps to grip onto the paint. So if you have paints that are particularly difficult to keep in a palette and they keep falling out, that might be helpful. And it also has these nice little lips for you to like brush against to get off any excess liquid and stuff, and keeps it in the well. The wells themselves are actually fairly deep, like that's a pretty deep well right there, which is good. It's funny because the cover, like the top, what is considered I guess the top would be this part of the palette. So for me, when I open a palette, I would open it like this. However, to actually, for practical use purposes, I would have my palette set up this way. I'm right-handed, and so I would typically hold my paintbrush like this, and this is how I would go into my wells. I wouldn't use it like this. I find that a bit awkward, and having it this way seems a bit counterintuitive. So as a right-handed person, this is the orientation I would use for this palette. Now, what paints am I planning on putting in this palette, you may ask? And I wasn't sure initially what was going to be in here, but then I realised I have that botanical set of Sennelier watercolours that I got from eBay, I think it was, or somewhere. It was on really good sale. And then I picked up these 2 paints, and I went through my stash of watercolour tubes and pulled out all my Sennelier watercolours that I have. And I have a fair few, apparently, as it turns out. So I have this 12 set. I have these 12 additional colours and these 2. So I now have 26 of their tube paints. This palette only has 24 wells. So what I'll probably end up doing is I'll swatch out the colours. I have a lot of yellows and a lot of reds by Sennelier. They do really nice reds and yellows, so it's not surprising. And so I'll probably swatch everything out, and then I'll decide which 2 I'm not going to put in, and then I'll make this my Sennelier palette. Now, and this will be in a separate video. Now I know Sennelier is a honey-based paint, and a lot of people say that it doesn't work well in a palette like this where you have to close it, that this side the paints might move. So I have a couple of things to say about that. I think it very much depends on your climate and where you live. Yes, Sennelier paints will for the most part stay sticky, they will stay tacky, but I don't find that they move once they've set, as it were, in the palette. I've never had an issue with them in my folding palettes before when I've used them in the past. And even in my other sort of travel palettes and tins, I don't have it here to show you, but they don't move. I've not had any issues with them. I live in the UK, and I live in the south of the UK. We're coming up to the summer months now. It's fairly dry, fairly warm here most of the time at the moment. And I mainly paint indoors anyway, so it's pretty much dry. There's not too much humidity in our house. And like I said, I've not had a problem with them, but bear in mind, if you live in a high humidity climate, you might have a problem with that. So maybe do a little test, see how it works. Also, I tend to leave my palettes open most of the time when I'm working at my desk, because sometimes I need to go and don't have time to wait for my paints to dry. So what I'll sometimes do is I'll just grab a piece of paper or whatever and like just lay it on top of my palette like that, to stop the dust settling on it, and it allows the paints to dry as well. So that's something I do as well sometimes. So this is probably what this palette will be used for, or that rather is what this palette will be used for. And yeah, I'm excited to try that out. So that will be a video that will be coming up very soon, because I'm super eager to get these paints swatched and set up. And I really want to do kind of like a series on the Sennelier watercolors, because I do really enjoy them. They are really good for layering, and I kind of want to show that. I think some people don't, what's the word, buy these expecting them to be the same as other sort of watercolors like Daniel Smith and other brands that are like super vibrant on like the first layer, and they might be disappointed because it might not necessarily always be like that with the Senneliers, but they are very much a layering paint. And I wanted to sort of like demonstrate that a little bit more, maybe do some color mixes, especially with this botanical set, because you know the whole point of this is that you have a set that you can do all sorts of different botanical paintings with, if that's what you choose to do. You don't obviously have to just do botanicals, you can do whatever you want. But it was curated by Billy Scholl, who is a botanical artist. And yeah, so I'm just really excited to try these out. I've just pulled these ones out because I want to swatch them later with the other new colors that I got. Put these aside for an upcoming series of videos, I guess, because it'll be more than one video. All right. Now, this is the box of goodies that I got from Jackson's. So there's a couple of things in here. I'll take these out. I didn't get too many watercolors. I didn't go too crazy, mostly from Rembrandt Szmal, and they're very affordable paints in the first place, so it wasn't too bad. So first things first, I picked up this Jackson's lead holder, or it's sometimes referred to as a clutch pencil. So yeah, it holds 5.6mm lead, so it takes really thick leads, and I picked up this pack on Amazon of these magic Koh-i-Noor Hardtmuth magic leads, as it were. And so I've seen these tricolor or multicolor pencils are really popular at the moment, and I wanted to try them out, but the sets of the pencils are really expensive, and but this set of 6 leads was very affordable. I can't remember how much they were, but then I bought them thinking I already had a clutch pencil, but I didn't. So I picked up one of these from Jackson's. If I can get it to go in, to figure out how this works now. How does this work? Is there something in there? Ah, there's already there's already a lead in there. I didn't realize it came with a lead. Okay. Anyway. Are these too long? Yeah, I think these colored pencils might be a bit, the leads might be a bit long for this, but that's okay. And just as you use it, the colors sort of change. I just thought it'd be really fun I really want to practice more sketching, but I personally find just sketching in pencil is a bit boring. And I think it's Hello Alice here on YouTube, and she's really been loving these sort of Noor tricolour, multicolour pencils for sketching, and I just think it looks really fun. So I think I'm gonna try doing some more sketches with these, and I just think it makes even a really rough sketch look a lot more fun. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, how I use those. But yes, that's why I got that clutch pencil, because I needed that. It does have a thing at the top here where obviously if you were using lead, like graphite lead, where you can adjust to show what lead hardness you're using. So it currently says 2B, but I'm not entirely sure how to change that. I thought you're just supposed to turn it. Oh, the lead went in. That's good. Okay, so you can adjust it. But yeah, it feels nice. It's not too heavy. It is plastic, so it's not like heavy duty, but they do sell metal ones as well, which are heavier obviously and cost a lot more money. But yeah, it feels nice in the hand. It's nice and chunky. So yeah, that's that one. Onto the watercolours. So first up, this is Rembrandt's Opaque White. You might be like, Mina, why did you buy white watercolour paint? I know most artists, and myself included, when I've needed a white for my watercolours, I tend to use gouache. But recently, I've been somewhat tempted, shall we say, by the more pastel watercolours, the ones that are mixed with white, that have a bit more opacity. And, you know, I do have a few of them. I sort of pulled some out because I'm planning on doing a video on this. I do have a few of them already, and you know, especially with the summer coming up, and like pastels seem to be a real thing in the summertime in terms of like colour palettes and things, I just thought it'd be interesting to play around with it. And there's another colour palette I've been playing with, which I'll talk about in a bit when we get to the Roman Szmal paints, that I've really been enjoying, and it's kind of made me think a bit differently about pastel colours and things like that. And I was tempted to get some from Shinhan because they're more affordable than some of the other brands. But then I was like, do I really need to do that? And I was looking at the pigment information on them, and I realised I have a lot of the base pigments that are used in those pastel colours. I just don't, you know, they're just mixed with white. So I thought if I just buy a tube of white, and I got the Opaque White by Rembrandt on the recommendation of Irit Landgraf here on YouTube. She loves this colour, she uses it a lot, and I thought maybe I could do some of my own mixes and see how I like them, and then if I find I use some of those mixes a lot, then I can go ahead and purchase the actual tube of that pre-mixed convenience mix colour. So Shinhan have two sets of watercolours called, there's like a tint set A and tint set B. And I can't remember which one it is, but I do have one of them. Sorry about the beeping. I think it's a lorry backing up down our road. I have one of them. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the set A, which I picked up on eBay secondhand for really, really inexpensive a few months ago. And I showed that on the channel as well, and swatched it in a previous haul. And they're quite nice, but I preferred the colours in set B. And I was thinking about getting them during the watercolour sale, but it was out of stock. And so that's kind of what got me thinking down this line of like, well, rather than going ahead and buying the individual tubes that were in that set that I liked, what about trying to mix my own? And I sort of, like I said, looked at the pigments and I was like, well, I actually have all the base colours. I just don't have the white to mix it with. So that'll be another video coming up soon where we test that out and see how that works. Now onto the Roman Szmal paints. So like I said, I was inspired by a video from Kimberly Crick, who recently did a video about Isero paints, or about two of the particular Isero paint colours, and they're convenience mixes. One was like a powdery pink, which was a mix of like quinacridone magenta and buff titanium, and the other one was, I think it was called Nordman green, which is a mix of phthalo green and manganese violet. and she was showing those mixes, and she did a couple of paintings with them, and it was just a really fun, beautiful colour palette. So I went through my stash of tubes and I found I actually had all of those pigments, and so for her paintings she used the Roman Szmal paints to sort of make those mixes and stuff. And I realised I actually don't have any of those colours from Roman Szmal. So that was the first thing, and I popped those in my basket. Then I thought, well, hang on a second, maybe I already have those colours. Turns out I do. So this is the manganese violet, the phthalo green, buff titanium, and the quinacridone magenta, but by different brands. So this is Helios purple from Sennelier. This is mauve from Winsor & Newton's professional line. This is phthalo green from Schmincke, and this is buff titanium from Daniel Smith. Now this is the Sennelier one. Like I said, it stays a bit tacky, but like that is barely coming off of my finger. That's not going to go anywhere. That's basically hardened up on my palette. It feels a bit sticky to the touch, but it's not like transferring onto my finger, and this is what I mean by like it's fine for me in my palettes with the Schmincke for the Sennelier paints. And I've been playing around with this and really enjoying it. Let me see if I can find something to show you really quickly. Some of the color mixes and stuff. So I did some color mixing in this page in my sketchbook, and then I did these two sort of little abstract florally things. And the buff titanium kind of acts as like the white in this case, because it is kind of a white pigment, but it's a slightly dirty white, as it were. And so it creates these like more pastel tones and shades and stuff. So this is kind of what got me thinking down that route of the pastel colors as well. But like I said, I really like the Roman Szmal paints, and I like their flow quality that they have, where they kind of move a lot more in wet washes and stuff like that. So I wanted to get these to add to my collection. Then I also picked up quinacridone maroon, which is PR206. And this is a colour that I really like in other brands, and other brands call it a different colour, call it a different name. I mean, some brands call it brown madder, some call it I can't remember. Brown madder is usually the other variation that I've heard of it. And then recently Roman Szmal came out with a new range of colours for 2022, and I was interested in some of those as well, but only two of them of the ones that I was interested in were in stock on Jackson's at the moment. So the rest are on my wish list for a future purchase at some point, but I did get these two. So I got the Parisian red and the quinathalone yellow. So I thought we would give those a try. The Parisian red is PR178 and the quinathalone yellow is PY138. So we'll give those a try as well. Alright, so I feel like that was a very rambly unboxing for something that wasn't actually a lot of substance. There wasn't a lot of stuff there, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and unwrap these pans, label them, and then we'll come back and do some swatching.